Have you ever, slept for 10 full hours and still woken up feeling like your soul is heavy? We might be dealing with something much more deeper than just a simple lack of sleep, right? We've all had those mornings where the sun feels just a little too bright, and the day ahead, well, it feels like a mountain we never actually signed up to climb. It's a strange, quiet kind of heavy. We aren't necessarily sick, and we certainly aren't just being lazy. What we're really experiencing is a profound disconnection between our inner energy and our outer world. We often try to fix this by going to bed earlier, scrolling through mindless videos just to decompress, or maybe taking a weekend off, only to find that the heaviness is still there, just waiting for us when we wake up. That's because, you see, soul-level burnout isn't about how much we're doing, it's about how much of ourselves we've lost while doing it. We've been conditioned to think that rest is purely a physical act, just a matter of closing our eyes and stopping our muscles from moving. But, we're finally starting to realize that our internal world, it needs a much deeper kind of attention. If sleep isn't fixing our exhaustion, we have to be brave enough to ask ourselves, what part of us is actually tired? We need to understand why the traditional ways we try to recharge, well, they're leaving us feeling just as empty as before. We are navigating a collective fatigue, one that a simple nap just can't touch. So let's explore why the weight of the morning is often the first signal that our spirit is asking us to stop running and finally start listening.
We often look at our calendars, and see a life that's supposed to be working. We're getting to the gym, hitting our deadlines, and we're showing up for dinner with friends. On paper, we are succeeding. But there's this quiet, persistent agitation that sits right behind our ribs. It's a feeling that no matter how much we do, and we do a lot, we're just pouring water into a bucket with a hole in the bottom. This is what we call the invisible leak. It isn't about being lazy or lacking discipline, right? In fact, most of us in this state are incredibly disciplined. We've become experts at performing our lives. We've learned to put on the mask of the productive professional, the supportive partner, or even the happy friend. But when we're alone, or even in the middle of a crowd, we realize we aren't actually living those moments. We're just watching ourselves go through the motions. We feel this hollow ache because we've shifted from being the main character of our story to being an actor playing a role. We're checking the boxes, but we aren't present for the rewards. It's an energy leak where our vitality is being siphoned off by the sheer effort it takes to keep the mask from slipping. We start to wonder if we've been wearing this costume for so long that we've actually lost touch with the person underneath it. We tell ourselves we just need to be more efficient or manage our time better. But you see, you can't time manage your way out of a soul-level depletion. This isn't a productivity issue, it's a presence issue. We are physically there, but our essence has retreated somewhere safe just to survive the day. But, even more unsettling than this performance is the way our brain begins to protect us by changing how we feel about the world around us. Because while the invisible leak drains our energy, the next sign we need to look for is the moment our emotions start to go completely quiet. We often treat our exhaustion,
like a low battery on a smartphone. We think if we just plug ourselves into a wall for 8 hours of sleep or a weekend getaway, we'll bounce back to a full charge. But when we're dealing with a soul-level burnout, the battery isn't the problem. I mean, the entire operating system is running a program that wasn't designed for us. This brings us to what we call the mirror of authenticity. It's that haunting feeling that the person everyone else sees, the productive employee, the smiling partner, the strong friend, is a character we're playing, rather than the person we actually are. We've spent so much time performing that we've lost the thread of our own truth. Here is the paradigm shift we need to embrace together. Soul-level burnout, right? It isn't actually caused by doing too much. It's caused by being someone else for too long. Think about that for a second. We've been conditioned to believe we are broken machines in need of a repair. But the truth is, we aren't machines at all. We are living beings who have accidentally traded our authentic joy for an endless list of external shoulds. We do things because we should. We say things because we should. And eventually, the sheer weight of that costume becomes too heavy to carry. When we reach this point, true rest isn't about checking out or scrolling through a feed to numb the mind. It's about checking back in. It's about looking in that mirror and asking, who am I when I'm not trying to please everyone else? We have to stop trying to fix our fatigue and start addressing our misalignment. You see, we aren't broken. We've just drifted away from home. But recognizing this misalignment, well, it's only half the battle. The foam challenge is what happens when we finally decide to stop performing. Because once we acknowledge that the mask is slipping, we have to face the one thing we've been avoiding this entire time. That quiet, underlying fear that if we stop being what everyone else wants, we might lose everything we've worked so hard to build. And that leads us to the most critical realization of all.
So, how do we actually begin the journey back to ourselves?
You see, we call this the gentle return.
It isn't another to-do list to stress us out, or a set of hacks to somehow optimize our performance.
Instead, it's a 3-step protocol designed to just lower the volume of the world so we can finally hear our own heartbeat again. First, we have to identify what we call the numbing loop. I mean, we've all been there, right? Compulsively scrolling through feed after feed for an hour without remembering a single thing we saw. Or finishing a whole meal without actually tasting the food. In these moments, we aren't actually relaxing. We're just checked out. Our bodies are here, but our minds have gone offline just to survive the overwhelm. The first step is simply to notice. When we catch ourselves in that loop, we don't judge ourselves. We just gently pause. We take one deep breath and acknowledge that we're trying to hide from our exhaustion instead of healing it. Second, we practice radical non-doing. Now, this sounds simple, but for most of us, it's actually quite terrifying. We carve out just 10 minutes a day for 0 input. That means no phones, no podcasts, no music, and no chores. We just sit. We allow our brains to decompress from the constant fire hose of information we deal with every day. It's in this silence that we stop being a human doing and remember what it's like to be a human being. Third,
choose one soul nutrient today. We pick just one small, completely non-productive activity that makes us feel like ourselves again. Maybe it's taking our shoes off and touching the grass. Or maybe it's putting on that one song that always makes us feel alive and just listening to it. Really listening, without doing anything else. We remind ourselves that these aren't chores or tasks to check off a box, right? They are gifts we give to a version of us that has been neglected for far too long. We're reclaiming our right to exist without having to produce something. But as we start to clear this space and nourish our souls, we might notice something unexpected. Sometimes, when the noise finally stops, a specific kind of internal resistance starts to bubble up. We might find ourselves wondering why these small steps feel so heavy, or why we feel a strange sense of guilt for even trying to heal. It makes us wonder, is it possible that we become so addicted to the burnout that we're actually afraid of the peace? That leads us to the final realization we need to face.
You know, that internal resistance we all feel, it's actually a sign, a signal that we're on the verge of something truly profound. We've spent so long in survival mode, haven't we? So long that peace starts to feel like a threat. But here's the truth we need to hold on to. I mean, really hold on to. Coming home to ourselves isn't some grand, one-time event. No, it's a series of small, quiet choices we make every single day. It's choosing to breathe when the world wants us to scream. It's choosing to rest when we feel that heavy urge to perform. We need to remember that the journey back to our core is a slow, beautiful process. And more importantly, it's a journey we're taking together. Here is the final piece of the puzzle. You know, the payoff for all this heavy lifting we've been doing. A rested soul isn't a weak soul. In fact, a rested soul is the most powerful version of us. When we aren't leaking energy to burnout, we finally have the clarity to see our worth and the strength to protect our boundaries. We become unshakable because we are no longer running on empty. We're moving from a place of overflow. Before we part ways today, let's start building our collective healing space right here. We want to know, what is one soul nutrient you're going to give yourself this week? Maybe it's a walk without your phone, a conversation with an old friend, or just 5 minutes of absolute silence in the morning. Share it with us in the comments so we can all draw inspiration from each other. And if this space felt like a soft place to land for you today, well, we'd love for you to subscribe to Psyche Unveiled and join our community. We're here to provide that gentle guidance as we all navigate the complexities of the human mind together. With a smile, let's keep healing together. We'll see you in the next one.